What's up guys, welcome to Mage, my name is Eric and welcome to another World of Warcraft video. In this video guys, we're gonna take a look at Arcane Mages. And Arcane Mages are amazing for doing great DPS in raids. This is gonna be a PvE guide. And in this video we're gonna take a look at all the necessary stuff you need to know about being an Arcane Mage. We're gonna take a look at the patch 5.3 live service, how much damage I'm able to do there, and how much damage I'm able to do patch 5.4. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do, remember to thumbs up guys, because it really helps me out. And yeah, as always right here, enjoy. Okay, let's take a look at talents and builds. My build is very simple. I have taken Presence of Mind, Ice Barrier, Ring of Frost, Cauterize, Living Bomb, and Rune of Power. If we go into the first tier here, we got Presence of Mind, Blazing Speed, and Ice Flows. The only reason why I have taken Presence of Mind is because it is such a great what shall I say, spell actually. It is such a great spell. It can give me an instant cast on all my spells that has a casting time in less than 10 seconds. It can give me a instant Rune of Power, instant Arcane Blast, or instant Flame Strike. Just like this, I mean instant all. Really great if you want to get an instant Flame Strike and do great AoE damage. We also got Blazing Speed. Blazing Speed is really good actually on some encounters. Some of them is really great. I mean, if you want to get to a specific location, like if I'm on this platform right here and I have to get over here really fast, just like this quick, I mean really quick, you want to go with Blazing Speed, because Blazing Speed increases your movement speed by 150% for 1.5 seconds. I mean, on Lei Shen for example, if you want to soak this lightning very quick but you can't reach it and the minions will spawn, you might have to go with Blazing Speed. Ice Flows also very great. Ice Flows is only good actually for bosses that has a lot of movement in it. I mean, if you're on a boss that you really have to move around a lot, go with Ice Flows guys, it is really great spell. We also got, if we go into the second tier, we got Temporal Shield, Flame Glow, and Ice Barrier. The only reason why I have taken Ice Barrier is simply because it absorbs so much damage guys. Take a look at it. 120,000 damage. There you go. And I'm not even full buffed or anything. I mean, I got an item level at 534 and 35,207 spell power. I mean, some hardcore players got more spell power than I do, so they will absorb way more damage. Flame Glow, it's a passive though. Still, I mean, it's a passive, so that makes it kinda good, but overall Flame Glow is not that great. I mean, it doesn't absorb that much as Ice Barrier does. And Temporal Shield guys, I never actually got that much into Temporal Shield. Temporal Shield, it gives you a shield and all the damage you take for 4 seconds will get healed up over 6 seconds. So that means you actually have to wait 2 more seconds guys in order to get healed up for the amount of damage you took. So Temporal Shield is not that good either. If we go into the third tier, we have Ring of Frost, Ice Ward, and Frost Jaw. And these 3 spells actually are pretty useless in raiding, because when you're inside a raid, all the bosses in there and most of the elite mobs are immune to all kinds of CCs. Only interrupts on some of their spells actually, but freeze, no way. I mean, Ring of Frost is the only reason why I've taken Ring of Frost is because it can freeze up to 10 targets, and you can do it from a great distance like this, and just you know, throw there, and 10 targets will get freezed. This is great for grinding mobs or in the battlefield barons for example. I mean, it's really great spell and I love it. If we go into the fourth tier, we got Great Invisibility, Cauterize, and Cold Snap. And I want to start out first with Cold Snap, because Cold Snap, that's a spell that is only meant for Frost Mages. And I'm not gonna tell you this twice, it is only a spell for Frost Mages, because it reduces the cooldown for all your effective Frost spells, and it is not great for Arcane at all. Great Invisibility, that is great if your entire raid is wiping on a boss and you have your mass resurrection up, then you could just go with great invisibility, and then the boss will disappear, and then you will get out of combat, and you can just resurrect your raid very quick and get back on track. That is really good for that. Cauterize, that is really good for your what shall I say? It's really good for you. I mean, if you make a mistake in a raid, well, you'll probably have to step on a lightning trap, or you walk into some fire that will one-shot you. Well, if you got to Cauterize, guys, you will not die. This is an effect that will only happen every second minute, and if you die, you will get healed up to 50% of your maximum health, and then you will burn down for 40% of your maximum health, so you will stay at 10% maximum health. So just shout out in the raid chat, whatever social programs you raid using, just shout out to the healers and just tell them I need some heals because I'm Cauterizing, and that is really great spell because I really use that a lot. If we go into the 5th tier, we got Nether Tempest, Living Bomb, and Frost Bomb, and I have only taken Nether Tempest and Living Bomb for Arcane Mages. I mean, Frost Bomb I think is only mostly for Frost Mages, to be honest, because it can proc your Frost Fireball and stuff, but Frost Bomb, not good for Arcane Mages, not at all. It is good for AoE because it explodes and deal damage to all targets nearby, but still not that great. If we go into the Nether Tempest, I mean, Nether Tempest is really great against lots of targets. Sorry. If we go into the Battlefield Barons, for example, and you are targeting mobs there, and you're killing mobs and just grinding them, you can just target all the mobs there one at a time and just go with Nether Tempest all the time, and they will get a dot on them, because this, you can use this on multiple targets. You can use this on many targets as you want, actually. Living Bomb, it is great for single target, only single target. Living Bomb is the bomb that does the very most damage against single target. Living Bomb, go with the Living Bomb, guys. It's really worth it. We're going to this last tier here, which is Invocation, Rune of Power, and Incancer's Ward. Incancer's Ward is only great in PvP. In PvP you have to move around a lot more, actually. I don't know, but my guess is that you have to move around a lot more. So that is therefore it is so great with this Incancer's Ward. So you will get an extra shield outside of your ice barrier, because when you're doing PvP you cannot just stand in your Rune of Power all the time and wait for your evocation to finish so you will get your invocation buff. No. Incancer's Ward is only for PvP, but invocation though, I have never really got into invocation. I have read it though, but it's not really my taste. I mean, you have to finish an evocation first in order to get the invocation buff. I'd rather wanna spend 1 second and 23 milliseconds, whatever it's called, and just stand inside this rune here. I mean, this rune is really nice because when you're inside, you will get mana regeneration increased and spell damage, of course. And if you are a Arcane Mage, you really have to focus on mana regeneration. You really have to stay above 80% mana all the time, which I'm going into later in this video. But that was it from the talents and build, guys. If you have any different build you are using, take your time, guys, and tell me in the comments below. As always, I'm going with Presence of Mind, Ice Barrier, Ring of Frost, Cauterize, Living Bomb, and Rune of Power. Let's take a look, guys, at stats for Arcane Mages. Arcane Mages and every other caster in PvE needs to get hit capped. If you're not hit capped, you might have a chance to miss on one of your spells, and if you miss, on example, on a what shall I say, a Chaos Bolt that might have dealt, what shall I say, 100,000, maybe 150,000, and you miss on that, it is not good, guys. You will lose so much DPS on that, so you really need to get hit capped. And hit capped for casters, for spell casters, of course, is 15%. I know this is quite much, actually, but you really need to get it above 50%, or 50 if you're awesome. As you can see here, I have 15.43% hit, and I am way above 15% actually, but I'm a douchebag that cannot reforge right, so therefore I'm staying so far above 15%. But that's the first thing you gotta focus on, and every other spellcaster get hit capped 15% hit. The second thing we're gonna focus on is, of course, can you guess it? Intellect, guys. That's right. That's what I was looking for. Intellect. You really gotta focus on intellect with being an Arcane Mage. And every red gem you got, you have to focus on intellect. It is so simple. Intellect all the way. And simple as that. I mean, intellect is so great. It will increase your spell power a lot, and with the more spell power you got, the more damage you will absorb from your ice bear, the more damage your arcane blasters will do, and so on and so on. I mean, second priority, focus on intellect as much as you can. The third priority actually is mastery. Mastery is so great for Arcane Mages, because the more mastery you got, the more damage you will do. Simple as that. Because mastery for Arcane Mages, it will increase all the damage done by up to 48%. And since I got 48% mastery, I'll get 48% damage increase. And this is based on, guys, on how much mana you have not spent. Because this was what I told you earlier. You have to stay above 80% mana all the time. If you get below 80% mana, your spells will not deal that much damage as it should. I mean, really, you gotta focus on as much mastery you can get. And stay above 80% mana all the time. And I'm actually gonna show you later in the video how you can stay above 80% mana all the time, as much as you can. And if you get below 80%, of course, you can always go with one mana gem. Simple as that. So and the fourth priority, of course, focus on haste. Haste is really also really good, because then you can cast your spells much quicker, and your living bomb will also do damage much quicker, and so on and so on. So, and the last but not least, crit. Crit is not that good for Arcane Mages, really. I mean, if you crit, you will do a significant amount of damage. Because imagine if you got 4 arcane charges, like, let me just go and charge up some arcane charges. My damage on my arcane barrage will suddenly increase to 200,000. And imagine that if you crit, like, boom. Okay, as you saw, I didn't crit, but if I did, I would do over 400,000 damage easily. So crit, it might be good, but not in my opinion. So let's just go over it again. The first priority, get hit cap 15%. The second priority, focus on as much intellect you can get. The third priority, focus on as much mastery you can get. And the fourth and fifth priority, focus on haste and crit. So yeah, good luck on your reforging, guys. Okay, let's now take a look at gems for Arcane Mages. There's no doubt about what you shall take in a red gem. In a red gem, you always go with the 160 intellect. On the blue gems, you can either go with the 8 intellect and the 160 hit. If you're not hit capped yet, you can just go with 8 intellect and 160 hit. Or you could also go with the 8 intellect and the 120 stamina. Since you already are hit capped, then just go with 8 intellect and 120 stamina. In the yellow gems, you either go with 320 mastery or 320 haste, but I would definitely recommend only go with 320 mastery. You could also go with the 8 intellect and the 160 mastery, of course. And on your meta game, if you have completed Raffian's legendary questline for patch 5.2, then you should definitely go with the 324 critical strike and a chance in the spell to gain 30 spell haste for 10 seconds. I mean, this is a very overpowered gem that will give you 30% haste. That is like the same as Time Warp gives you. So if you're on a boss and you open, you will get total of 60% haste. But if you haven't completed Raffian's questline for patch 5.2 yet, just go with the 216 critical strike and the 3% increased critical effect. So let's just summarize what you should go with. Red gems 160 intellect, blue gems 80 intellect and 160 hit, or 80 intellect plus 120 stamina. The yellow gems 320 mastery, or 80 intellect and 160 mastery. On the meta gem, you either go with the 324 critical strike and change the spell damage to gain 30% spell haste, or you can just go with the normal meta gem, which is 216 critical strike chance and also 3% critical strike effects. Okay, let's take a look at enchants for Arcane Mages 2. Unfortunately, we cannot get any enchants for our heads. On our shoulder, we of course take 200 intellect and 100 critical strike. On the cloak, since I'm a tailor, I got the live weave embroidery, which has a chance to increase my intellect by 2000 for a few seconds, and this is so good. If you don't happen to be a tailor, don't worry guys, you can just go with the 180 intellect of course. On the chest we got 80 in all stats. On the wrists 180 intellect of course. The weapon, Jade Spirit, and the offhand, if you got one, 165 intellect. And just so you know guys, one main hand and offhand actually gives you the most stats instead of just a staff. So if you got that, you should definitely go with one main hand and then an offhand. That is so much better than a staff actually. And the rings, as you can see here, I got 160 intellect on my rings. This is only because I'm an enchanter. Enchanters can actually enchant your rings. They can give you 160 intellect, agility or strength on both of your rings, and this is oh so good. On your boots, I would say 140 mastery and the minor speed increase. The minor speed increase only gives you 8% more run speed, but it's still something and it's really nice sometimes. On the legs, 285 intellect and the 600 and 165 critical strike of course. The belt, you go with the prismatic socket that will give you an extra gem on your belt, no doubt about that. On the hands, you go with the 170 mastery. So let's just summarize once again. On the shoulders, 200 intellect and 100 critical strike. Cloak, either live weave embroidery if you're a tailor, or just 180 intellect if you're not. The chest, 80 in all stats. The wrist, 180 intellect. Jade Spirit on the main, on the weapon, and if you got an offhand, go with 165 intellect. On the rings, if you're an enchanter like me, go with 160 intellect on each of course. The boots, 140 mastery and the minor speed increase. The legs, 285 intellect and the 165 critical strike. And on the belt, the belt buckle of course, that will give you an extra gem. And on the hands, 170 mastery. Okay guys, let's take a look at glyphs for Arcane Mages. My minor glyphs are very simple: Glyph of Momentum, Glyph of Illusion, and the Glyph of Loose Mana. The Glyph of Momentum is a really nice glyph. It makes you blink whatever direction you're walking. If you're walking backwards, you will blink backwards, and if you're moving this way, you will blink this way, and so on and so on. But if you rather prefer to just turn around 180 degrees and just blink away like that, I mean, you don't have to take this glyph at all, then it's just a waste. But the minor glyphs are not actually that important. The Glyph of Illusion, it's really nice glyph. It makes you look like someone else for 2 minutes, and while you have this effect on, you are not able to use any mounts. And remember guys, you have to stand very close to the target in order to get the effect. It's only a glyph they've made for fun actually. You don't necessarily have to take this one, only if you like it and only if you feel for it. The last of my minor glyphs are the Glyph of Loose Mana. The Glyph of Loose Mana is a really nice gem. Instead of you getting 45,000 mana instantly, you now regenerate 45,000 mana over 6 seconds, instead of just getting it all instantly, and that is really nice glyph. And let's move on to the major glyphs. We're gonna start off with the Glyph of Evocation. The Glyph of Evocation is a really nice spell. It increases your survivability in raids, of course. Example, I got the Rune of Power here, and when this glyph on, the Glyph of Evocation, I would automatically gain 1% of a maximum health every second, just like this. 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, just like that. every second. I mean, that is really good, and that will really help the healers out a lot actually, so they don't have to focus you that much, so they have time to focus on the other of your raid members. But if you don't have the glyph of rune power, if you don't have the rune power spell, and you just got the normal evocation, you will get healed up by 60% of your total health over its duration. So the glyph of evocation is really good for survivability, and it will give you health over a few seconds. Yeah, that's all I can say for the glyph of evocation. It's a really nice glyph. The glyph of arcane power. What this does, it is increasing the duration of arcane power by 100%, so it makes you get the arcane power buff for 30 seconds instead of just 15. But there is a bad thing about this glyph though. It will also increases the cooldown by it for 100% too. So it will actually have a 3-minute cooldown instead of just 1.5. And yeah, but this is really good for short fights on a heroic boss in dungeons, of course. Glyph of Arcane Power would be really good actually, but on long fights we will probably have to use this a lot. Just go with, just don't have this glyph on. But I must say, in my opinion, I would go with this glyph whatever it takes, cause I've tested this glyph actually. I was testing it without the glyph and with the glyph, and I was actually able to do more DPS with the glyph of Arcane Power, like 30 seconds. Imagine that, guys. 30 seconds of arcane power of damage boosts. That is so much, so long duration compared to my other cooldowns. So glyph of arcane power, I really recommend that one. And the last of my major glyphs is the glyph of slow. Your arcane blast spells have applies the slow spell to any target it damage. So, for example, if this target is moving towards me, let's just say the Council of Elders and the Troll Priest, no, the Troll Woman, that will make you the ads that will fixate on you. Then you can just go with Arcane Blast and just slow the target by 50%, and also the casting time is decreased. Oh, okay, the movement speed is reduced by 50%, but the casting time though is increased by 50%. But it's still really good for soaking ads in raids, really good for just slowing down monsters. Really nice spells. So this is what I recommend: Glyph of Momentum, Glyph of Illusion, Glyph of Boost Mana in the minor glyphs, and the Glyph of Slow, Glyph of Arcane Power, and the Glyph of Evocation in the major glyphs, guys. Okay, let's take a look at my macros, guys, and beware, guys, because I am not using many, as you can see. I mean, Glyph of Polymorph, it's a mouse over macro that I'm only using for PvP, and my one-shot macro is for PvP too. The Glyph of, no, not the glyph, the macro I have made is for refreshment table, and all it does is it will yell out in chat, and it will tell people that are around me and my guildies, raid members, whatever, that I have set up a fee so they can just click it and get some food. And yeah, we also got my glyph, not the glyph, sorry, the macro of Ice Block. The macro of Ice Block is a really good macro actually. A lot of mages use it actually, and what it does, it will get you inside and get you outside Ice Block just like a blink of an eye, just like this. Really fucking fast, and it can break whatever CC you got in raids, and it is such a nice spell to soak damage with whatever really nice macro. And the last macro I'm using is the Glyph of Silence. What this does, imagine if I'm on this boss here, which is the training dummy. I'm in the middle of doing some DPSs here, guys, and as you can see, and he suddenly starts to, you know, cast a spell that could probably wipe the entire raid. I can just, while I'm casting, just interrupt him like that, interrupt him, and just go on with my DPS. I mean, glyph. Not the glyph. Sorry. Why am I saying glyphs all the time? Macro of Silence, also really nice. So these are actually the only two effective glyphs I'm using in PvE. Okay, guys, we made it to the last part of the video: rotations. What rotation shall you use in order to be the best Arcane Mage you could ever be and stay above 80% mana as much as possible? Well, I got the answer for you. The first thing I'm gonna start out with is, of course, putting our arcane power on the ground, just like this. And be aware, guys, because it only lasts for 1 minute, and when it disappears, your buff will also disappear. So, you can actually stay up to 3 yards out of the Rune of Power, like this, so you will get the buff, just like this. But if you move too far away, you guys, you will not get the buff like this, and it will not appear in your buffs anymore. So be aware of that, because when you're inside the rune, you'll increase your mana regeneration by 75%, and also the spell damage increased by 15%, and your health is restored by 1% per second with my glyph of evocation. Anyway, we place a new one because this one is about to vanish already. Place a new one, and the first thing you want to focus on is popping all your cooldowns. I mean everything you got. Mirror image, arcane power, and your pre-pot, or you could go with the Cauterize. The Cauterize is a nice thing you can pick up in Cool Life Summit. I am not going into how you can get it. You should go and check it out on WoW. But you can only be able to use neither the Potion of Jade Serpent or the Cauterize. So popping all your cooldowns like Arcane Power, Mirror Image, and Potion of Jade Serpent. And then we're gonna start out with a single Living Bomb. This will proc the most of our trinkets, if not it will. And there you go, it procs everything. We're gonna refresh it, and then go with 1 Presence of Mind in order to get 1 Arcane Charge, and just stack until you get 4. When you get 4, you can see we got 2 Arcane Missiles already. Then we just go with all the time and cast 2 Arcane Missiles, just like this in a row, and just Arcane Barrage, and then use all the time again. Then go with 2 Arcane Missiles again, and end up with 1 Arcane Barrage. I mean, I wasn't even concentrating there and doing proper DPS, but as you can see, I was able to do 140,000 damage on a training dummy only with a few simple buffs. I mean, I didn't even use cooldowns, guys, and I was really slow in my burst. 140,000 DPS. I mean, that is actually pretty good actually for most people, but for me it is nothing. I usually do 350,000 to start out with, and my normal DPS will probably be around 180, 200,000 damage DPS all the time. So let me just go and summarize what you should go with in the bursting rotation. Pop all your cooldowns, Rune of Power, and Living Bomb, Presence of Mind to get 1 free Arcane Charge. Stack up to 4 Arcane Charges. If you are lucky enough to get 2 Arcane Missiles, just go with that, and wait until you're done with the first one, and then throw it again, and then end with Arcane Barrage. And this makes you also able to stay above 80% mana all the time. As you can see, I didn't even use any mana at all. Really simple. And this is also a really nice way. And here's the rotation you're gonna go with all the time. And just, you know, get 4 Arcane Charges, refresh Living Bomb all the time until it explodes, and then go with it again, and use Arcane Missiles if you got 2 Arcane Missiles up. Only use it when you got 2, guys, and just keep stacking up Arcane Charge until you got 4, and then just go with Arcane Barrage until you'll get 2 Arcane Missiles. I mean, it's a really simple rotation. We don't use many buttons as other classes do, but this is truly amazing. I mean, okay, this was my rotation. Pop all the cooldowns, Rune of Power down, Living Bomb, Presence of Mind to get 1 free Arcane Blast, stack up till you got 4. If you're lucky enough to get 2 Arcane Missiles already, go with all the time, use 2 Arcane Missiles, Arcane Barrage, refresh, go with all the time again, and again 2 Arcane Missiles, and end up with an Arcane Barrage. Then you're just gonna go with the same rotation again, and remember, guys, when you got Arcane Power up again after those 3 minutes, and another time, of course, you should probably use them at the same time, because Arcane Power is most OP when you're using it along with some other cooldowns of yours, just like Potion of Jade Serpent, all stuff like that. But yeah, that was the simple rotation of Arcane Mages, and now we're gonna take a look at how much damage I'm able to do on the live service, and how much damage I'm able to do on the patch 5.4 PTR. And if you have any questions, guys, on how you can do anything else with Arcane Mages, and if you have any questions about Arcane Mages, all just tell me in the comments below, and I will answer them as quickly as I can. let me just go show you guys how much damage I'm able to do now. You ready? Here we go. And I was able to do, my starting DPS was probably around 350,000, and my overall DPS was like, my DPS overall was 260,000 after the time war came. And I had an item level at 534 and my spell power was at 35,287. And yeah, so I'm gonna show you how much damage I'm able to do. And all I'm using, guys, is just Arcane Brilliance and the Mage Armor spell, and also one pre-pot and Time Warp, and all my other cooldowns as well, guys, in order to do DPS. Not even full buff yet, and that is amazing DPS. Arcane Mage is so OP. So let's just go over to the patch 5.4 PTR service and show you how much damage I'm able to do. Guys, I was almost hitting 400,000 damage on the patch 5.4 PTR service, and please be aware of, I didn't even have my flask, I didn't even use a feast, and I wasn't even fully buffed or anything. I only had $1 Brilliance and Mage Armor and also a pre-pot. That was all I was using actually. And my DPS, it was about 320,000 and then it dropped down to 280,000. I failed quite a lot there. I just only want you to know that Arcane Mages are a really good DPS class for mages. It is so much better than Frost, guys. I mean, Frost is very good in low item levels, like if you got an item level at 515, Frost is a really good decision, but if you are above 522 or if you're above 530 item level, Arcane is definitely the choice for you. I mean, Fire also is pretty good. I actually haven't been going much into Fire at all, neither in PvE or PvP, but I still think that the Arcane is the best. And if you go onto a WoW guide server called Noxic.com, they have DPS meters there, and they said by themselves that Arcane is better than actual Fire. So this was my guide for patch 5.3/patch 5.4. These builds work out very well in both patches. Actually, it is really nice rotations, stats, requirements and builds you should go with in both patch actually, since patch 5.4 is only a few weeks ahead, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please thumbs up, guys. It always helps me quite a lot actually. There's nothing better to know when people actually like your content. But yeah, thumbs up, guys, if you liked it, of course, and tell me your thoughts in the comments below if there's anything that can be improved. As always, Ark here. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next one. Take care, guys. Bye bye.